现在我们进入今天座谈会的第二阶段 ，now is the second phase The people who now stay here are real experts. 现在所有留下来都是真正的专家from India, and all those who are really interested in India. Okay, and so I suppose that we could have more in-depth discussions. 所以我们希望可以有一些更深入的讨论那这样我们现在的方式就是看现场的听众有问题可以提出来I like to ask the audience to raise questions because now we have experts here. Their presentation earlier each focus on different perspective. 就是刚刚有不同的角度那等到我们都讨论完最后，我们再请亚洲中心的司徒文主任Dr. Stanton 做一个 conclusion， 好不好？好来，那现在看在场的 Annie， 来请魏老师。
Okay, I'm Major Wei from National Cheng Kung University, and it's very nice to attend this symposium on the analysis of the election result in India 2014. And my question is really related to the impact, possible impact of the kind of further economic reforms or economic liberalization conducted by or to be implemented by the Modi government really. Because it's quite obvious that economic reforms will be the focus of Modi's government, right? But we also know that in India, poverty or socio-economic inequality is a rather acute problem. So what would be the possible impact of Modi's further economic reforms towards the liberalization, including measures like privatization or loosening of labor law, and also cutting business transaction costs, something like this? What would be the impact of these economic liberalization policies on the existing problem of social and economic inequality? Thank you.
Great. I suppose it's a question for Professor Ma Dao, right? Okay. So let's take some more other questions. 在座的有没有？有中兴大学的，来 ，OK， 来，请。用中文问也没有问题。
既然老师这么说，那我就用中文讲。
没问题，真的没问题。
大家好，我是中兴大学国际政治研究所的学生。那其实在最近都有在关注有关印度的新闻。那我想要，因为主要研究方向是有关印度的海军还有海洋政策。那我想针对这个问题，想去做一些提问，这样就是说，现在新政府上任之后，可以发现，Modi 的foreign policy 跟美国跟中国都还有存在模糊的地带。像刚才在那个 Raviana 先生他有提到说，就是在海洋政策上面，印度开始重视海洋的权利这样，但是好像是仅限于在沿海地带。那我想要问说，那跟中国的关系，就是因为中国也试图进入印度洋这个区域，那他对中国态度会抱持这样的态度？那会不会？那第二个问题就是说，那现在世界上有美国跟中国这两大强权，那印度目前这个领导人这个总理似乎跟两国的关系都还不明确，甚至就是在就职典礼上，中国的代表跟美国的代表似乎都没有，好像也没有出席，我不确定，但是好像似乎都没有很大的报道。那我想问说，会不会印度会遭到这两个国家的排挤？这样，谢谢。
你希望谁来回答你的问题？
只要可以回答的。
Okay. He basically raised two questions. Before I translate his question, I'd like to also introduce Mr. Haki. 他是从印度驻台代表处过来，所以等一下有一些问题 ，some of the questions if we find too difficult, yeah. Okay. 呀，一些 OK 啊。
正式的回答。
正式的回答，对，OK， 这个第一个问题啊 ，the first question， 林同学 asked is about whether India China strategic competitions in the Indian Ocean will be more severe. Yeah, that whether there will be more confrontation in the Indian Ocean. Second is that how India's relation with the U.S. and with China, because there's no much media coverage about American and the Chinese representative attending Modi's inauguration. Yes, how are the two countries' reaction to the potential rise of India in the future? Yeah, so perhaps either Fang Tianci老师 could also address a little bit later on this. Okay. 还有那个 Ravi 教授 maybe you can also answer a little bit. Yeah. 还有没有其他的问题？我们再先开放的，然后再让其他的先让大家来回答。OK。好，OK， 你要问问题，可以，OK。
Actually, it's a new government, right? So I'm interested to know can Mr. Haki say something about the new Indian Foreign Minister? Can you introduce her to us? Say something about her, and maybe Ravi also can say some words about her.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, 好。Now let's get these questions and answers first. Okay. 好，那现在先请马道教授先。
The first question, I think right now the biggest challenge in India is the economic one, and the top priority for the Modi government is how to boost and revive the economic growth, and to boost that growth, that means you have to solve problems in other areas. For example, there's a huge deficit problem and inflation problem that need to be done. And the second one is infrastructure, and this has to be done as soon as possible. And the third one is the economic and social political problem, which is job creation. And all those problems is interlock each other, and those are huge tasks. If you want to really boost the economy and to achieve a long-term growth and to solve those three major problems simultaneously will be a big challenge. And I think the new government is trying to do that very, very hard, and they also have a lot of plans to do that. For example, to solve the deficits and the problem they can do cut subsidies and doing through privatization and the infrastructure. They can have more private capital, encourage more private capital and foreign capital to invest in infrastructure. For the job creation, the government will boost the manufacturing sector, and maybe from building infrastructure that will create more jobs as well. And because India is a very big country and very, very complex, and to solve those problems altogether, that will be a difficult challenge. But I believe that the BJP and Modi, Mr. Modi, he got very strong will, and if someone can, and I think Modi can. So I give a very, very big hope for him to realize those reforms. And you also asked about social implication. And for those to boost the economy, I believe that will be a trade-off. To boost the economy, you have to, for example, to reform the labor law. The purpose of the labor law is meant to protect labors, and for somehow it become very, very complex and very, very difficult for investor to get around. And to reform that, and the other thing is the subsidy, and because India is a very it's a democratic country for such a long time, and so they have a lot of subsidy, and especially to people with very, very low income population, and privatization as well, and they to raise their revenue they have to sell or to raise a certain revenue, and from those things that they will boost the economy, but on the other hand, it's a trade-off for people with less privileged background that may create a certain social equality situation. I believe that could be the price to pay. But if your objective is to boost the economy, and that's something the government might consider. Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Now to other questions, I'd like to ask Lindsay and Ravi.
When the BJP came to power in 1998, it was seen as the most United States party. But when he was in opposition, then he was against the U.S.-India nuclear deal. So I think now he came back. So he also will be realistic. He will try to amend the relations with Washington. Even Modi may be personally very unhappy about the past history. But the U.S.-Indian strategic partnership developed quite well for some time. So I think they become quite mature. So even they have some dispute, I don't think they will going back. And so where U.S. and China cooperate together to contain in India, I don't think so. Just like it's unlikely U.S. will cooperate with China to contain Japan. The same similar. So, but I do think maybe some uncertainty between China and India. So that's why I think maybe the new minister, what's his ideology, her ideology maybe. But because I checked the archive of the newspaper, even the minister, actually she said something, she criticized China also when he was the leader of opposition. BJP used to criticize the Congress policy about Tibet, and also they think Congress policy is just like too over-cautious and kowtow to China. So I'm just curious what she will do. What she will do after assuming the position. So I think this maybe we can wait and see.
More than India's relations with the United States, the response from China is very interesting to Modi's being elected. Never before have I come across Chinese comments and editorial op-eds which have congratulated the Indian people for electing a new leader. Number one, I hope people in mainland China don't get ideas about elections looking at the way India has been regularly electing leaders. Also, I think China sees a commercial agenda in Modi's being elected because they have done business with the Gujarat government, and everyone agrees in India that Gujarat is perhaps the least corrupt of all the states. And The bureaucracy in Gujarat is progressive, dynamic, and I believe they clear applications for investment much faster than other states. So today, as someone had said, that transparency, that is where Gujarat shines. And Modi has successfully portrayed himself as somebody with whom you could do business, which is the total opposite of the previous government. I mean, you just have to go to YouTube and see the body language of our previous Prime Minister and the current Prime Minister, and you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So it is that which seems to have enthused Beijing. The United States President Obama is one of the first to congratulate Modi and also basically sending the message that it's time to get the relationship back on track. The last 2 years have not been a very pleasant phase for India-US relations. And we were just discussing that with Director Stanton a short while back. And I guess it is in the interest of both the countries to reset the relations, not just in economic terms, but also to have strong political relations between the two sides. The BJP began the whole discourse of negotiating the nuclear issue with the United States. And the biggest competition they're going to face is from the provinces where, number one, the nuclear liability bill that created a lot of storm in Parliament, and secondly, where the civilian nuclear plants are going to be located. Now, I know that a couple of plants will be located in the states where some of the regional parties are strong, so one could expect opposition there. But otherwise, in the major states in northern India and western India, I think there should not be much opposition because the BJP is in control. So, when it comes to the economic agenda, the US and China are both, I guess, going to see better days for their investments. But of course, as the previous speaker had said, it all depends on a lot of factors. The labor laws being passed, the general sales tax, the states being convinced we have a complicated taxation system. Streamlining all these would take a lot of Mr. Modi's time. And I guess the rest of the world also has to be a bit patient. You cannot expect things to happen overnight in India. China's entry into the Indian Ocean, this is something which honestly worries the Ministry of Defense no end. And I don't see any change, irrespective whether it's Modi in power or someone else. The Ministry of Defense, by and large, I guess, and even from my own experience, is perhaps the most conservative of a very conservative bureaucracy otherwise in India. And if you were to track the amount of the budgets that we are allotting the Indian Navy, you would know where the thrust is and why is India building up a strong Navy indeed. And Mr. Modi, of course, I must say, everyone was surprised when he took the first step and invited all the member countries of the SAARC to attend his inauguration. And this was a revelation because after around 4 or 5 years of absolutely no action, this was a revelation. So I guess there are, foreign policy and the BJP. The BJP is more willing to to push the envelope, unlike the Congress, which at one level wants to, but cannot, since it is held hostage by history in many senses. About Sushma Swaraj, it's interesting because in 1977, when the Janata Party came to power, it was the first time a non-Congress party was elected with a majority. Ms. Swaraj was a young 25-year-old minister in the provincial government of Haryana. And she then, she of course became as one of the leading members of the BJP, was the leader of opposition, and was also the provincial chief minister in New Delhi. Now, as foreign minister, I just don't know how she is going to perform the job. To begin with, she has a very professional, reliable bureaucracy to fall back on, to depend upon. And also, I guess, she'll have more freedom because what I see as an anomaly is that in India, with due apologies to Mr. Haki here, I believe that the National Security Advisor, the role of the National Security Advisor and the role of the Foreign Secretary somewhere I feel they check one another. So the new National Security Advisor is going to be somebody who is not from the Foreign Office or who doesn't have a background from the Foreign Office. It is somebody who is going to be entirely from who used to be with the internal security organizations. So I guess the Foreign Ministry that way would have more space to maneuver and leverage. And I believe they will do a professional job in advising Ms. Swaraj. And from what one gathers from the media is that Mr. Modi is a taskmaster in the sense he draws the broad outline and then he depends on feedback. So I guess Ms. Swaraj will have more freedom. And also, interestingly, Ms. Swaraj, the BJP, it's a problem of all large political parties. The BJP also has factions. And Ms. Swaraj belongs to the faction of Mr. Advani. She was also a prime ministerial aspirant till Mr. Modi was selected by the party. So at one level, I guess Mr. Modi would be happy when Ms. Swaraj is traveling the rest of the world, so that she's not at home to create dissent within the party. So that's how it goes.
Yeah, Ms. Nagi, you want to say something? Okay. Yeah, that's the answer. Yeah. Okay. Some other questions regarding the topic we just had. 接下来有没有其他的就是有关刚刚选举？来，后面那位。哦，那个。
Good afternoon, everyone. My question for today will be that during the presentation I saw that, like Professor Fong told, that Modi was here in Taiwan, and so my question is, like after Modi is now the Prime Minister of India, so what do you think? How will it positively influence the relations between Taiwan and India? What are the expectations and positive influences which we can expect after like Modi is in the power? So this is my question. Thank you.
Dr. Fang, okay. And any other questions? Yeah. 后来那个小韩，那我们就。
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Amy. I graduated from Zhongshan University. Here I've got two questions. The first one is, according to Mr. Fang's presentation, we know Modis come from the low caste family in Indian society. But how come Modi today can be such a successful? Is this a big relate about he joined the RSS? RSS led him to have this kind of political successful and achievement. Yes, and is that will make the young people in India now will follow the Modi's way if they want to have the different life, or they want to have they want to join the politics. They will choose to join the RSS or not, and they will improve the RSS power in India. Will it happen, or just out of curiosity? And the second one is, what the Muslim people in choice in this election? Did they vote to the BJP, or they just be silent in this election? And what were the Modi what's his religion or Muslim policy in the future?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Both questions I'd like to ask Ravi to answer. Okay. Yeah.
I would like to ask this question to Dr. Ma Dao, since you mentioned the importance to privatize the state-run businesses. Could you please specify what areas you think in India that should be privatized? I think it is important for people to know or estimate the magnitude of a possible trade-off, because usually in the history we know that privatization has brought a lot of negative side effects, and the trickle-down effect doesn't really happen. So would you please respond to this? Thank you.
Okay, great, yeah. Okay, now again, the second round. First question regarding Taiwan, India, I did ask Tianzi to answer.
About Marlin question, what's the influence and impact of Modi's new government on Taiwan? Normally, to answer the question, our government will call for 作文比赛, and then you can provide answer to government. Just joking again. The answer is quite simple. We try to make use of the link with Modi. But actually, I lived in India for some time. I don't know what's the current situation. But as I know, during the time we working in India, we did have a strong link with Gujarat and Mr. Modi office. So I think now for our government is try to renew the link, maybe try to have some contact with the new government as soon as possible. I also suggest our government should send some high-level team to India to congratulate Modi. I think maybe it's also a chance for both sides to rebuild and to upgrade our relationship. This is my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Now, Ravi, please.
Thank you. I think I'll have to specifically answer the questions asked by Amy. Yes. Caste and Modi. Very interesting questions you have asked, I must say. I mean, initially there was a lot of resistance within the BJP when, as you know, as you also been following, when Modi was projecting himself as the potential Prime Minister to be. And there were quite a few factions allied against Mr. Modi. But amongst these factions there was also crossing over. So the Home Minister today, Mr. Rajnath Singh, he is the president of the BJP. He was the one who convinced people in the RSS that it doesn't matter that Modi may belong to a backward caste or a backward community, but the fact is that he is a vote catcher and that he should be projected as the leader if the BJP has to come to power. So if Mr. Rajnath Singh has become the Home Minister, which is the second most powerful job in the country, I guess it's a kind of a reward. Because without Mr. Rajnath Singh's support at one level, Mr. Modi's lieutenant Amit Shah could not have gone to Uttar Pradesh. Amit Shah was Mr. Modi's former Home Minister in the state of Gujarat. He had to resign because there were allegations of him being behind a couple of violent murders, etc. It's not been proved exactly, the matter lies in court. But Mr. Amit Shah was the main person who went to Uttar Pradesh, and he managed to stitch a social alliance of various, across the board, in favor of Modi, which is why the BJP could win around 71 seats in UP out of the total 80, which is a miracle. In 2009, the BJP only got 10 seats out of 80 seats in UP, but this time they got 71. And the RSS is generally considered to be the spiritual base of the BJP. The RSS has been very controversial as well. I mean, let's not forget that Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated by a member of the RSS. The RSS was banned not once but twice, then it's always bounced back because it claims it's a social organization. And during election times, whenever BJP party workers go door to door, they are always accompanied by people from the RSS because the RSS has the most detailed data on households, on how many members there are, how many people of electoral age are involved, etc., etc. So it's a relationship which feeds on one another. As for Mr. Modi's caste, if you were to ask me, it doesn't matter to a majority of Indians what caste he belongs to. Because India is going through a wonderful transition where you have not just rural India, which is urbanizing, but you also have semi-urban India, which is where a lot of votes for the BJP have come into being. If rural India was to be associated with strict lines of caste and segregation, urban India and semi-urban India is where you just can't do it anymore. It's just not, I mean, in any case it was a ridiculous thing, caste divisions, etc., etc. It's impossible anymore. So in a way this vote is not just for the aspirational people, but it's also a society called India which is aspiring for a new governance structure and new people who reflect the spirit of the times. So caste and Modi there, I will not put the two together. In fact, the Congress actually built up this bogey more than the BJP. A prominent member of the Congress who is more known for his loyalty to the main family in the Congress, Mr. Manishankar Iyer. He was the one who scored an own goal when he said that Mr. Modi is fit to serve tea. No, Mr. Modi is not even fit to serve tea at a Congress meeting.